Here's about a 20-year-old screen door that the screen has actually been pushed out of. And instead of buying a new door and trying to pull it off the hinges, I'm going to try to replace the screen with the door still in place. And all I've done to get started is removed the original screen mesh that was there, anything that was left here in this mounting groove, and cleaned it out. Here are the tools that I used to install the screen and the screen spline itself. What I've done to get started is just hang the screen with some blue masking tape, just something to hold it in place, and then I'm going to use this screen spline to install the screen into the grooves in the door. So starting off here, I'm just pressing the screen spline into the groove, and I've pushed the spline as far to the left hand side as it would go, and I'm using the concave end of the screen spline tool to at first lightly press the spline into the groove, and then I'll go back and apply more pressure to pop it completely into place. The entire installation from start to finish took me about 13.5 minutes. I'm playing it at 2x speed right now, just to kind of save you the agony of having to watch the whole thing play out in real time. It is easy for that tool to slip out of the groove, and you can puncture the screen pretty easy, so just take your time. And here I'm using the razor knife just to cut that spline all the way over to the far right edge of that groove. And as I'm starting the left groove with the spline, I'm not applying really any pressure as far on the screen from left to right. I'm just trying to make sure that the screen is getting installed levelly as far as straight up and down, so that it's not being pulled at an angle. As I get it completely installed, I'm going to start on the bottom here next, and with my offhand I'm pulling down, putting pressure on the screen to make sure it's nice and tight, and a little bit of pressure from left to right at the same time to make sure that when it's all completely installed, the screen's going to be nice and tight on all four corners. I'm not going to have any rolls or wrinkles. If you pull the spline about 3 to 5 inches at a time, and then there I'm using my thumb to hold that spline in place and apply pressure, and that keeps the screen from kind of sliding back out and becoming loose again. When installing the spline on the final side here, I'm going to be applying pressure from pulling from left to right, and that's going to be the final I guess stretch on that fiberglass screen to make sure that it's installed nice and tight. So just take your time on this last one, and put as much pressure as comfortable without. You don't want to stretch it so far that it actually will tear the screen, so just be careful there. Finally, we're just going to cut the excess screen just using the razor knife. And my blade was kind of dull, but this stuff does cut extremely easy, and just be very careful not to slip, because you will just cut right through the center of that screen if you do happen to slip. I'm pressing it right to the very top of the screen spline and the top of that groove to give it a nice clean finish look. Here's the finished product. Came out great. The screen's nice and tight, no waves. I think I saved a lot of time by not pulling the door off. I think it would have taken more time to pull the door off and rehang it. First time doing it, came out good. If you're thinking about doing it, just give it a shot.